I've had some time to sit on it. I was a little underwhelmed. If I'm being completely honest, I thought we were going to see a little bit more overall, but I have to remind myself that Bryce was playing without his best X receiver, with half of his O line. So I'm trying to keep it in the context of he was playing a very good defense, Wink Martindale's defense, with half of what he's going to have to work with during the season against the New Mexico Lobos in August. So,
yeah,
I don't know. So what do you think?
Yeah, so I just want to just preface right now and say I am excited to see the replay on Sunday because I just want to just see more. But like we mentioned in Saturday's post game, if you watch this game, there's gonna be more to be desired. Okay, now it's offensively. Now Bryce Underwood, there are moments where you see this kid's potential. You see what he is capable of, right? But there are also moments in this game where you realize, and this is something that has been on my mind since discussing the Mikey Keene snap one game one thing, where it does still look like it'll be Bryce Underwood snap one game one. He's 17, man, and he makes decisions sometimes like a 17-year-old, and it's just what it is. But then there are these moments where you see this elite ability, whether it be him escaping the pocket, whether it be him going through his progressions, throwing excellent throws with velocity, accurate, but then he has the occasional throw where it's a little high, things like that, things you would anticipate a young player to go through. And that's just going to be the reality. It's going to be the reality that next year, if Bryce Underwood, and I know what our community wants, they want Bryce Underwood snap one, game one. Let's go through it. Well, I'm going to tell you, there's going to be moments where you're going to see a young quarterback, and that's something the community must embrace and must accept. If that, and so I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it 4 weeks into the season, and they're like, and they're pulling their hair out because Bryce Underwood makes a poor read or overthrows a kid. Now, the reality is, over time, Bryce Underwood's going to get better and better and better. And let me also say this, something I've thought about since the spring game. The argument a lot of people make is, well, Chad Henne started as a freshman. Chad Henne had an elite offensive line with a loaded wide receiver room and an elite running back behind him. Bryce Underwood does not. Bryce Underwood has a wide receiver room that has holes, an offensive line that has gaps, and a running back room that is strong. So he has that. A tight end room that we're not sure about yet. So we need to be very mindful here. We have, and we'll get into this when we start talking about recruiting and the transfer portal, but we have holes on this roster, and we have critical holes on this roster. And that is my concern with Bryce Underwood. Okay, it's not Bryce Underwood. My concern is what's around Bryce Underwood offensively. Defensively, well, let's talk about that, John. It looks good.
Excellent.
Looks deep, looks strong. Let's also stress this too. A lot of the key guys, a lot of the key players, they pulled out early. Like your Rayshon Benny's, your Derek Moore's, your TJ guys. They got maybe 8 snaps.
Yeah, maybe 8. They were on a very low snap count.
Even Jordan Marshall offensively, like Donovan McCauley, although he played for the Mays team, he only had like a lot of the top guys, 8. We're talking 8 snaps here. We're talking 8 snaps. You know what I mean? They didn't play a lot, which is to be expected, and that happens on spring games. But I just want to I'm trying to caution the fan base when they watch the game Sunday to, one, let's not overreact. Because one thing I do think is an overreaction that I'm seeing on some of the observers of the game is the offensive line. And I know I just talked about the offensive line, but let me just say this. It is so hard to glean anything from a spring game because everybody's on different teams. You don't know what this looks like. We have no idea what this offensive line would truly look like with Bryce Underwood behind him. We don't know. So you have starters on Mays, you have starters on Blue. The starters are only getting 10 snaps and they're pulling in other people. You have freshmen. You have Andrew Babaloo out there, true freshman. It is just a hard, spring games make it difficult to truly gauge what you have. On top of this, vanilla playbook. Chip Lindsey's not calling plays. Wink Martindale's not calling plays. So let's please be mindful on what we see next Sunday. But I feel like I'm also setting this up we're going to see a dead body Sunday. We're not. There's actually a lot to be excited about. You will see Donovan McCulley flash. You will see Justice Haynes flash. You will see this defense look dominant. The Metcalf brothers look freaking good. Shamari Earls looks scary good. Shamari Earls looks like I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm the one player I was most impressed with was Shamari Earls. He looks ready. Like he looks ready, man. He looks good. He looks ready. So there's a lot of bright spots. Defensively, it looks deep. It looks like there's a lot of rotation on the line. Defense is not. I feel we are going to be just fine defensively. Offensively, I don't want to say there's area for concern because it is just so hard to read. When you put the best players, when you put McColley out there with Haynes and Marshall rotating, the best 5 offensive linemen. But then let's talk about this. Fred Moore drops. Multiple drops. I think he had 2 drops, right, John?
2 drops.
Yep. Samaj Morgan, non-existent.
Literally.
I am worried about wide receiver. I'm going to tell you guys this right now.
2 targets, no yardage.
My concern with this team is left tackle, and I know I've said this, so maybe I'm repeating myself, but left tackle, wide receiver. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into this with the portal talk, and I do have a bit of a rant, and I know Ramez, I saw your super chat. I know we'll get to it.
Yeah, we will.
Figure it the fuck out, Michigan. Like, there's no reason to go. Like, we knew last year right tackle was a problem. We knew quarterback was a problem. They did nothing. And look at the year we had. Don't do this. Don't do this again, Michigan. We know where the holes are on this roster. Handle it. Okay? And I know there's some individuals on Twitter, no names. It's all respect. It's all love. We can disagree. That's fine. But I'm just going to let you know right now, when next season comes and these are glaring issues, this is why I'm saying the things that I am saying, because I'm trying to listen. There's nothing I can do to change what's going to happen. Like they're going to do what they do. But I'm trying to at least bring awareness to what could potentially be the hurdles or the issues for next season. Because outside of that, I think we have a really good roster. Like, I want a team that has a run in a playoff, not a team that just competes for a Big Ten title. And my concern is Michigan is potentially settling here on this roster, and there's no need to, because we do have NIL. That's another thing too. It's not a lack of NIL, because that's not the problem, so we'll see. I mean, but again, let's just stress this too, John. I'll let you kind of follow up here. There is a lot of good in the spring game. But there's also areas where you're going to be like, shit. Like, come on, boys. We got to figure this out. And that's going to be some of the, and I'm going to tell you this now, Jaden Davis's throwing mechanics. No.
Still Garbo.
It's not good.
Yeah. So let me tackle some of what I thought were positives, and then what I thought were need for improvement. And I'm trying to keep in mind that this is nowhere near what the final ones are going to look like on offense and on defense. But look, Bryce Underwood, we've already spoiled most of the plays, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. But if you do want to wait till Sunday, you might want to just hit mute for like a minute or two.
Don't leave us.
Don't leave us. So Bryce Underwood, obviously, not only did he have a very impressive touchdown at the end with that reverse kind of double flea flicker situation, he showed off his legs a little bit. So he showed that he can make good decisions with the ball. He can sometimes, if he needs to use his legs, he'll use his legs. I think that they limited that because it's a spring game, but I do think that we saw flashes of why we went for this guy so heavily, why we outbid LSU to get this guy. We saw portions of that. We also saw him be a freshman, throw an interception. And TJ, one thing that I wanted to see, and I told you this Friday night, and I told Wolverine in Ohio, and his brother who came out, is that I know Bryce is going to do some good things Saturday. What I want to see is how he responds when he throws a pick. Because I predicted Friday night he was going to throw a pick. I predicted Friday night there were going to be some freshman issues that he would need to rise above. And what I like to see in in a guy who should be going to prom, but he's at a spring game, but he's going to be a true freshman. What I like to see is when he made the mistakes, we call it in startup land in business, we call it fail fast, right? If anybody here has been in business or anybody here has been at a startup, this is a line, this is a phrase that's used. Fail fast. Make your mistakes quick, get your mistakes out there, and then learn from them and rally quickly. Bryce showed failing fast in about the best way you can show it. He had a rough first half. No one argues that. But I will say this, he rallied. And that's important in football because you're going to have games, TJ. There's going to be games where Michigan's behind. There's going to be games where Michigan is not in the best position, or maybe a pick is thrown, or maybe a fumble happens, or maybe something goes wrong. And so that's something that I think transcends, the fact that they were split up, the fact that this goes to the mentality of the player. This goes to the fact that Bryce has that kind of cool customer, level-headed, but also dog mentality. Like, he's not going to let an interception rattle him and then throw 5 more. He's going to learn from it and adjust. And that did impress me from a true freshman.
Yeah, and so how about this? So let's kind of break down the stats of the game. So Bryce Underwood was 12 for 26, 187 yards, 1 touchdown.
Yep.
I believe he had an interception. They don't have that listed here, but I believe there was an interception.
Yep.
2 sacks. I would argue there should have been more than 2 sacks. I just don't think they blew the whistle.
Yeah.
Running, Justice Haynes, 6. I'm telling you, I think Justice Haynes is going to get this RB1. 6 attempts, 51 yards. He had a 26-yard long. Micah Kapana, 15 attempts, 39 yards, 4 touchdown. And then receiving, Jalen Hoffman, 7 receptions, 148 yards, 1 touchdown. He was part of the flea flicker.
He was impressive. Jalen Hoffman was impressive.
Andrew Marsh, 2 targets, 1 reception, 12 yards. Channing Goodwin, 3 receptions, 23 yards. The Elijah special. Was it legendary game? What do we call those? What do we call those games?
Career games, or what was it? Legacy games.
Legacy games. I know. We thought it's legacy games. Legacy game, 3 for 23, Elijah. And then Frederick Moore, 2 targets, 0. That's not good. That's a problem. Let's go to the Mace team. So we got Jaden Davis here, 6 completions, 17 attempts, 74 yards, 4 sacks. He had the better line, by the way. That's another thing too. Wasn't it? It was Jaden Davis who had I think it was Mace team that had the better line versus the blue team, which is something that I think it matters. And then rushing, Kuzdal, 14 attempts, 105 yards, long of 30.
Let's go.
Jordan Marshall, 4 attempts, 9 yards. Receiving for the Mace team, Donovan McCauley, 1 target, 1 reception, 25 yards. After they saw that, by the way, they're like, okay, you're done. You're done. We've seen enough. You're good. And then Samaj Morgan, Elijah, you're going to love this. 2 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards. Amarion Stewart, 2 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards. Peyton O'Leary, legacy game, 1 reception, 4 yards. Logan Forbes, we'll give him his flowers. 3 receptions, 42 yards. That's actually a true legacy game. That's kind of where we are, It was not an offensive explosion, but let's just also stress this too, and myself included. Spring game, Chip Lindsey's not calling this offense. It will be vanilla. The defense is going to be ahead of the offense. But it just would have been nice. All right, here's my biggest concern coming out of the spring game. Our wide receivers are not getting separation. That's a problem. It's going to make it a lot harder for these. It's going to make it a lot harder for these quarterbacks, man. The wide receivers now maybe Chip Lindsey's offense can scheme these guys open a little bit. Maybe so, and it's possible. I'm just letting you know, like, my concern. My concern is a lack of separation wide receiver, a lack of skill at the wide receiver position, and offensive line holes on the offensive line. Those are my concerns. Other than that, no concerns. No other concerns with this team.
Yeah. And look, I'm with you. I mean, I've been beating the drum on wide receiver for a while, and Ron Bellamy, maybe why is he coaching in 2025 was a question that I definitely had. I did see a little bit of separation. My issue was with what happens after the separation. Like that, I do think that you did see separation at times with some of these receivers. The what I didn't see from these receivers was that chemistry, which does come with time, where once you do get that separation, you can't just like not run towards the ball. Like there were times you even commented the one time, I forget who it was, but they just like stopped. It was like a deep shot, and he just stopped running for it, and he just like stopped putting himself in position to get that catch.
I don't remember who that was.
And I know, but it sticks in my mind because that's what we saw a lot. What we saw was they were getting a little separation. I'd say I'd like to see more, but my biggest issue was that Bryce and Jaden Davis. Bryce was throwing more accurately than Jaden Davis, but when they had an accurate ball sent to them and then they couldn't catch it. Like that's again, we're going into Ron Bellamy special right there. It feels like nothing's changed when it comes to they can block because that's the motto: no block, no rock. So they can still these wide receivers can block, and I think they do get a little bit of separation. Maybe that's what Soup has been talking about in practice. I don't know. But we're still missing that crucial third part, right? Which is obviously the connection, the catching of the football. And you saw a lot of drops. And we've just pointed out some of the starting wide receivers with 0 is a major red flag.
So fuck it. I'm just gonna say this. All right, you know what's blowing my mind right now? Please, no one don't take this personal. We can disagree. The people who are like, oh, we're fine at wide receiver. What makes you think that? Last year, this game, where? You show me where you see that. It's because you want to believe it, because it's your team, and you don't want to think it could possibly have a weakness. What is this? No. We have an issue at wide receiver, bro.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Now, Jalen Hoffman, who's a tight end, did have a really strong showing at receiving. He is a tight end though, so it's the same situation as last year where you have the tight ends outperforming the wide receivers. But 7 for 7, 148, that's pretty damn good. And I think he's fighting to put himself in a tight end 2 position with that type of performance. And he's not gonna beat out. Is he more like a Bredesen type, or is he more?
He's more of an H-back like Jalen Bredesen. He can play behind Bredesen. I mean, they'll probably rotate a little bit.
Which is wild because he was the best receiver. He was the best catcher of the football on both teams.
I want to give some flowers here to Steve Lorenz of 247. We don't typically give him a lot of credit all the time. Not that we don't knock him either, but one name he has mentioned that he was hearing from his sources was Jalen Hoffman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jalen Hoffman showed out, and and Steve Lorenz is really the only one I know who had that. So some flowers to him. But yeah, I mean, he's pretty much an H-back behind the Max Bredesen, in the Max Bredesen position. So, I mean, he'll only get so much run, but I mean, hey, it's good to see him flash. It's good to see him actually make plays. I'm just like, I'll be real. For me right now, my biggest thing is like, man, I wish I could just see this offense play as a unit with its best guys, best starting 5 offensive linemen, and just really see how it really looks. But we're just not going to get it. We're not going to get that till September. So we're going to have all off season to kind of ponder and speculate, and hopefully Michigan can land a portal addition or 2, which we'll get into.
Yeah, this is literally all we have till August. So
I know, and it sucks because I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied.
No.
I am
on defense.
Yeah, I'm very
on defense. I'm very satisfied.
I'm overly excited on defense. But yeah, offensively, I have some concerns.
Yeah. And also, obviously, we want to protect Svada because Stuart Blake was ass. He was not very good. He got 1 gimme field goal, but missed the other 2. So we want to. Hollenbeck actually didn't do terribly as the punter, but I can also see why they're bringing in some competition to.
You know what's interesting about that, John? So as we know, Bauer committed Saturday.
Yeah.
When you compare Bauer and Hollenbeck actually had a better season. Or I'm sorry. Tommy Doman last year, the punter that they got rid of, actually had a better year than Bauer, and we were not pleased with Tommy Doman. Now Tommy Doman was a consistency issue. Now maybe Bauer is more consistent, but one thing I said on the post game Saturday about the addition of Bauer, his net punting average is 93rd in the nation. It's like 41.5 or something. That's not like, I have a feeling we're not gonna be happy with that if that's the answer. Okay. So now I will say this though. If he's consistent though, like if he doesn't have shanks, if he doesn't have good games and bad games, then maybe consistency is the answer. And maybe we will be like, okay, it's good enough. You know, he's not a weapon. Let's put it that way. He's not going to shift the field. You know, it doesn't appear that he has that ability, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we will see. I mean, I think that that's definitely something we're going to continue to look at. So I think all across the board, yeah, I'm not satisfied on offense, but we only got half the picture. And there, you know, something to keep in mind is that Bryce Underwood played one of the best defenses he's going to face all year, with half of the Mays team defense is, I think, still better than like half of the ones, and then the twos, I think, is still better than 8 or 9 of the teams that Michigan's going to be facing. Maybe even better than 10 of them. I mean, it's basically down to a couple that will be better as a cohesive unit than Michigan's Mays team defense was. So Bryce had to face a very difficult defense for his first ever like live game, and New Mexico is going to be like a walk in the park compared to what he just had to do.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so we have a lot of super chats, people commenting on this. Any final thoughts before we get to those?
No, I have said my piece, John.